There is something about a truly calm person that makes others deeply uncomfortable. Not because calm people are cold. Not because they are distant. Not because they are unfriendly. But because their stillness exposes something in everyone around them. When you walk into a room and you are completely at peace with yourself, when you don't rush to fill silence, when you don't react to pressure, when you simply observe, something strange happens. People start to shift. They become restless. They talk more than usual. They try harder to impress you. Some even begin to feel threatened, and they don't know why. This is not a coincidence. This is psychology. And today, we are going to uncover exactly why calm people make others nervous, and what that nervousness reveals about human nature at its deepest level. You've seen it before. Someone walks into a room, they don't say much. They don't perform. They don't chase attention or try to make everyone like them. They simply exist. Quietly. Confidently. At ease. And yet, somehow, all eyes drift toward them. People start watching them more carefully. Some feel strangely judged, even though that calm person said nothing critical. Others feel an unexplainable need to prove themselves, to explain their choices, to justify their words, to earn the approval of someone who never even asked for it. Maybe you felt this yourself, around someone so calm, so unshakable, that their presence made you suddenly hyper-aware of yourself. Your words. Your reactions. Your noise. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is information. And psychology explains exactly what it means. Here is what most people never understand. When we are around someone who is reactive, someone who gets nervous, responds quickly, fills silence, seeks validation, we relax. Because they're doing all the emotional work. Their behavior tells us, I am trying to manage this situation. But when we are around someone who is genuinely calm, someone who doesn't rush, doesn't react, doesn't need your approval, our brain reads something very different. It reads, this person cannot be controlled. And that is unsettling to the unconscious mind. Human beings are social creatures. We are constantly, without realizing it, reading each other's emotional states. We look for reactions. We look for cracks. We look for signs that tell us where we stand with another person. A calm person gives almost none of those signals. And when the mind cannot read someone, it becomes alert. Observe. Detach. Control. That is the silent power of a calm person. Not what they say. Not what they do. But what they don't do. Psychology shows us that emotional reactivity is a form of transparency. Every time a person reacts, gets defensive, rushes to explain, laughs nervously, overtalks, they reveal how much something affects them. Calm people reveal almost nothing. And that mystery is magnetic to some people and deeply threatening to others. Imagine a man in a workplace, let's call him Daniel. Daniel doesn't gossip. He doesn't complain loudly. When someone tries to provoke him, he pauses, considers, and responds with measured words. When pressure rises in a meeting, everyone else leans forward, Daniel leans back. He never raises his voice. He never chases recognition. And yet, people talk about Daniel constantly. Some admire him. Some quietly resent him. His manager feels the need to explain decisions to him, even when Daniel never questioned them. Colleagues feel oddly nervous before speaking to him. Daniel hasn't done anything. His calm is the thing. Here is something that will change how you see social dynamics forever. When you are calm, you become a mirror, and most people are terrified of what they see in it. Think about it. When someone is reactive, emotional, or anxious around you, it creates noise. And noise is comfortable. It gives people something to respond to. Something to match. Something to hide behind. But when you are still, when you are quiet, when you simply observe without reacting, the other person's behavior bounces back at them. Their nervousness has nowhere to go. Their insecurity finds no echo. Their performance finds no audience and suddenly, they are standing alone with themselves. Psychology shows that people who struggle with self-awareness find calm people deeply uncomfortable. Not because the calm person judged them, but because they judge themselves in the reflection of someone else's stillness. A calm person doesn't have to say a word to make someone feel exposed. Their presence alone does it. Observe. Detach. Control. Most human interaction, more than we realize, is driven by shared anxiety. People talk fast because they are nervous. People laugh loudly to fill silence. People over-explain to feel accepted. People react quickly to show they care. This is the invisible rhythm of most social environments, and here is the thing about rhythms: everyone is expected to follow them. When you don't follow that rhythm, when you don't rush, when you don't fill every silence, when you don't perform anxiety like everyone else around you, you break an unspoken social contract, and people feel it. Imagine being in a group where everyone is laughing nervously at something mildly uncomfortable, and one person simply sits still, unbothered. Not cold. Not rude. Just unaffected. That stillness feels louder than any voice in the room because it signals something rare. It signals that this person is not controlled by the same invisible pressures everyone else surrendered to long ago, and that is deeply unsettling to people who have never questioned their own anxiety. The human mind is drawn to mystery. And calm people are mysterious, not because they try to be, but because they reveal so little. Most people broadcast their emotional state constantly. You can read their mood within seconds. You know when they are happy, anxious, offended, or insecure, because their face, their body, their words all announce it immediately. A calm person does not announce anything. They listen more than they speak. They think before they respond. They carry a stillness that makes you feel like there is an entire world beneath the surface, and you are only seeing the edge of it. Psychology tells us that perceived depth creates fascination. When we cannot fully read a person, our brain does something interesting. It assumes there is more to discover. It becomes curious. It becomes alert. It begins working harder, trying to figure out who this person really is. For some people, that curiosity becomes attraction. For others, it becomes anxiety. Because the mind that cannot control what it cannot read starts to feel powerless. And powerlessness makes people nervous. Here is a truth that is uncomfortable, but important. Most people are desperately seeking emotional reactions from others. They want to see that their words landed. They want to see that they impress someone. They want to feel that they have affected another person. This is human. This is natural. There is no shame in it. But here is what happens when they meet someone truly calm. They give their best performance. They say something clever. They wait for the reaction. And the calm person simply nods. Listens. Responds thoughtfully, but doesn't perform amazement. Doesn't give the emotional spike that was being chased. Suddenly, the person feels strangely hollow. Like they reached out for something and found only air. A woman once told me about a man she was dating, deeply calm, deeply present, and how it both fascinated and frustrated her. He never reacted the way I expected, she said. He wasn't cold. But I couldn't get a rise out of him. And I realized I had been testing people my whole life without knowing it. That is the gift of a calm person. They don't just make you nervous. They make you honest. Observe. Detach. Control. This is perhaps the deepest truth of all. Calm is not passive. Calm is not weakness. Calm is not indifference. Calm is controlled power. And power, real, quiet, unperformed power, always disrupts the social environment around it. Think about the people in history, in leadership, in life, who commanded the deepest respect. They were rarely the loudest. They were rarely the most reactive. They were rarely the ones performing their strength for everyone to see. They were the ones who didn't need to. Psychology shows us that genuine confidence does not require external validation. It does not require the approval of the room. It does not require the reaction of another person to feel solid. And when people sense that kind of self-sufficiency in someone else, Something ancient is triggered inside them. A recognition that this person operates by different rules. That they cannot be easily manipulated. That the usual social tools, flattery, pressure, guilt, reaction seeking, simply don't work on them. And that realization is deeply, quietly threatening. Not because calm people are dangerous, but because they are free. And there is nothing more unsettling to a person in a cage than someone standing right beside them with no bars. So what does all of this mean for you? It means that the next time someone seems nervous around you for no reason, the next time someone becomes aggressive, dismissive, or strangely competitive with you when you've done nothing wrong, stop and ask yourself, is my calm exposing something in them? Because most of the time, the answer is yes. And it means that the path to quiet power is not about being louder. Not about performing strength. Not about convincing anyone of your worth. It is simply becoming still. Still enough that the noise of the world no longer moves you. Still enough that people feel your presence before you say a word. Still enough that you become a mirror and let life show you who is ready to grow and who is afraid of what they see. Observe. Detach. Control. This is the silent language of the most powerful people in any room. Not volume. Not performance. Not reaction. Just, calm here is something that most people will never say out loud, but feel deeply. There is a certain type of person in this world who needs to be able to move you. Not necessarily in a cruel way. Not always with bad intentions. But they have learned, through years of social survival, that emotion is leverage. If they can make you laugh, they feel likable. If they can make you defensive, they feel powerful. If they can make you anxious, they feel in control. If they can make you react, in any direction, they feel like they matter in your world. This is manipulation in its most human, most unconscious form. And it is happening in almost every social environment, offices, friendships, families, relationships, constantly. Most people don't even know they are doing it. But here is where the calm person becomes a problem for them. Every skilled manipulator, conscious or not, looks for your lever. Your lever is the thing that moves you. For some people it is approval. Make them feel liked, and they will do anything. For others it is fear. Hint at rejection, and they collapse. For others it is guilt. Remind them of what they owe, and they fold immediately. Manipulators find your lever quickly. They test. They observe. They push gently, watching for the reaction that tells them there it is. But a calm person has no visible lever. They don't collapse under guilt. They don't brighten desperately at flattery. They don't tighten under pressure. They don't rise to anger when provoked. They simply receive, process, and respond from a place of stillness. And when a manipulator cannot find your lever, they panic. Psychology shows us that the need to control others often comes from a deep fear of being powerless. When someone cannot be emotionally moved on demand, when the usual tools produce no reaction, that fear is triggered at its deepest level. And panic, in people who need control, almost always looks like aggression. What makes this reason so psychologically profound is this. When a calm person cannot be manipulated, they don't just resist the manipulation. They reveal it. Because when the manipulator's usual tactics produce no result, they are forced to escalate. To try harder. To show more of their hand. And suddenly, their behavior becomes visible. To others in the room. To themselves. And most uncomfortably, to you. The calm person didn't expose them on purpose. Their stillness simply created a space, and the manipulator filled it with truth. This is one of the most powerful and least understood effects of genuine calm. You don't have to fight manipulators. You don't have to call them out. You don't have to defend yourself loudly or prove anything dramatically. You simply have to remain calm. And watch as their own behavior tells the story you never had to speak. Observe. Detach. Control. Because calm is not just peace. Calm is protection. Calm is clarity. Calm, in a world full of noise and emotional leverage, is the ultimate form of quiet, untouchable power.